guys, great to have you back. I have a clip from Whatever Clips, and it says Michael Knowles debates Gen Z girls on viral Gen Z clip. Guys, let's check it out.
Chase, would you rather smash the hottest trans woman in the world or the oldest woman in the world? Honestly, bro, the oldest woman in the world, because then I wouldn't be gay.
What? You really just want me to just rip you a fucking new one.
Are you like, Chase,
Yeah.
how dare you be transphobic?
Yes, actually, what the fuck do you mean? Yes, that was
Because
so
if I
unnecessary.
had sex with a trans woman, I'd be having sex with a biological man, and I don't want to do that.
The question is,
That's not what you said, though. That's fine. If that's
Because
what you
I'd
want
be
to say.
gay if I had sex
That's
with a
not
biological
gay.
man.
That's not gay.
That's
And
gay.
I don't care if you're doing this for like whatever, but like shut up, actually.
I'm doing
You
it
look
for
like
what-
you have a
Hey,
leader
why-
respect
why don't-
No,
his
why don't-
street
that's too far.
identity.
That's
Why don't
too
you
fucking
Why don't
far.
you make me
That's
shut
too
the f up? Because I have an opinion that differs from yours.
No, it's gonna be a part of something that's starting to say shit like that.
She's right. I mean, that's really
What?
useful,
She's
bro.
not. She's not. It would technically be homosexual.
That's rude. You guys are having a conversation for crying out loud. Why did you walk out on every other person? This is rude, guys.
A trans woman is a biological man.
I want to
Sue me.
meet Chase. Dude, that's mean. I also gotta go. I
It's
gotta
not
go.
fucked up. It's real.
That's
It's
his.
true.
Okay, if you guys want to
It's
respect
factual.
gender identities, that's his though. That's his sexuality.
I'm not allowed to say that. I'm not allowed to say that.
Yes, from a biological woman who doesn't even have any trans friends, that was too fucking far. A man of God who doesn't judge a Christian, yeah.
Yeah, you know what God said? It said He made them man and women. He made them man and women.
He actually said
I just
man,
told you I'm
women,
not
and
gay. I'll
them.
pass on that. Thanks, though.
So,
No, he said
didn't take
God
your
created
own
man,
advice.
both male and female created he them.
Stating biological
them. So there's
facts would
them.
make
They,
people
thems.
walk off the show.
No, the them refers to the men and the women.
no, but he
man
said
is the
them,
gender
so
neutral
it's
word.
like they, them.
Well, he's referring to both of them.
But he said them, so he's like saying man created men and women in them. So he
No,
admitted
he
to
said
create
in the beginning God created man, both male and female created he them.
them.
These are the
Them.
types
So
of
you're
While
man.
other countries
Right.
are planning
Male and
to
female.
invade us with debating they, them, the whole thing.
When you refer to multiple people, you say them, right?
Or you could be referring to they, thems.
It's English.
They thems don't exist. I hate to break it to
I've
you.
met some. It's crazy. You
You've
wouldn't
met
believe me.
very confused men and sometimes very confused women, but you have never met an
Most
actual
non-binary people I meet are women, not men.
Yeah.
Just gonna put that out
Really?
there.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe because they don't have to face the consequences of all their friends being jackasses. A woman coming out as non-binary probably will have a friend group that'll accept her more than
A man.
a
Yep.
man
Coming out as
non-binary.
Oh, I thought you were saying the women get into this stuff because they're really messed up or something more than the men are, but you're saying that this is a real category of being and it's just the men are afraid to admit it. You can't seriously believe that.
I do believe there's people who are, I don't know if it's ambiguous or what it is. There's people who were born in their wrong gender. There's people who are born and they don't feel like they fit in either box. Do I think people are born that believe they're cats and stuff? No, I don't believe that shit. No.
There are
Do I
people who
believe-
think that, though.
I'm saying no, I don't. I'm not saying that's correct, but I haven't seen anything to back that up. But I just,
So
the fact that you guys, in anyone's right mind would somebody go
This is making me sick already.
from like Bruce Jenner, for example, or Caitlyn Jenner now,
Yeah.
for example,
Did you just
Successful.
dead name?
successful athlete, Olympian, whatever, all this
Guy in
stuff,
the Wheaties box.
was married to Kris Jenner, had life of whatever. Unless she truly believed that and felt that deep inside of her core, she ultimately ruined her life for basically a whole decade.
No, he became much more relevant and famous than he was.
I
previously.
highly
Obviously,
disagree.
he was on magazine covers.
Well,
Everybody
he
was
got
talking
way
about him.
more
We're talking
She's
about
hated.
him.
been on magazine covers. She's an Olympian. She's not
But he had-
on. She's not on.
He was an
covers
Olympian
'cause
many
she's
decades
trans.
ago. No,
but
exactly.
exactly.
He was on a magazine cover for the first time in decades.
But
because
after
he
she
pretended
came
to be a
out
woman.
as transgender, she got way more hate.
Exactly.
And she got
The only thing
ruined
worse than being talked
relationships.
about is not being
But
talked
she
about.
probably
That's
made
how
more
show business
money.
works.
But no, she.
Okay,
she
so
lost a
take
lot of
away. Okay,
relationships.
But the
sorry.
reason he
Take
did
away
that-
Caitlyn Jenner.
You know
Take,
what? The
okay, no,
reason-
hold on. Put on
Yeah.
your basic day-to-day person. Okay, you're not gonna like this one. Okay, no, not you. You, for example. Okay, there's people like you who are super conservative, right in their
Handsome.
views and stuff, and then
Charming.
They wake up and they want to be a woman.
But is it because they just woke up and want to be a woman, or is it because they finally found the courage to come out with something they've been suppressing their whole lives? I just don't understand why you guys think somebody would risk. Like, yes, some people can benefit from coming out as trans, but most people do not benefit from that. So why would somebody risk their whole livelihood, not even just career, but literally especially black
because
trans
they have
people?
a sexual fetish. They have a
Also, why
disordered
does it
sexual
bother
desire.
you?
I
feel like
so
why does it bother
complex.
people?
Because it isn't true.
But why does it
Like,
bother
why
you?
is
It's
that?
not
Yeah.
harming you. It's not hurting anyone.
Well, it is harming society.
So
a
do
lot.
you go around
How?
fighting
Because-
people who think the world's flat? Do you go around
You're like,
fighting
you're
them?
harming society.
No, well, because in the case of transgenderism and this
my head is
ridiculous idea that
banging.
men can secretly be women and vice versa, there are very practical effects that we see. Like, for instance, if we
pushed
accept
onto
this,
children.
yeah, well, it's obviously pushed onto children. We're castrating children left and right, which is insane. But also, if we accept transgenderism at all, even for one single adult person, that means that certain things will change in society. Women don't get to
Maybe
have their own
things
bathrooms
need to
anymore.
change.
Women don't get to have, well, perhaps, but at least one could have the debate. Women don't get to have their own bathrooms. Women don't get to have their own sports teams. Women don't get to have their own specific rights and places in society. Protections in civil rights law, they
Everything will be
lose
wrong.
that because some men can say that they're women. And so it seems to me the obvious question to ask is not, well, what does it matter to you? Who really cares? First of all,
Very correct, guys. I can't wait for this whole mess to stop. I don't even understand. Okay, can they just do that? They must compete. If they must do anything. When you are building a new facility, it may be like a restroom, a game, or whatever. Please have transgender restroom, transgender sport, transgender this, female this. Specify it, make it clear that this is it. Stop confusing people. Most of these transgender, they are bisexual. Please.
the people pushing this seem to care a lot. But the question to ask is it true? Are these men who say that they're women actually women? Or are they men who are confused or who have weird sexual fetishes or have disordered desires?
Gender-wise, they
Obviously,
are.
it's
Biologically, they're not. So
What's
gender,
the difference?
The difference is like science, and then the other difference is like how you feel in your head and the way you are in society. There's a huge difference. The difference is like the chromosomes and then your mentality.
Okay, so if there's a
good point.
disagreement between what you're saying is your physical self and your emotional self, your
Yes.
psychological self, then why would you not just change your mind? If the options are chop up your body to make go through gruesome surgeries, that
If
are
you're
gonna probably
living with
shorten
your mind
life,
for your whole life and you understand like, oh, I've been trying to change it. Like she said, most people are repressing it and are trying to change it, but they just can't. So why would this is something physical that I can easily go change instead of trying to retrain your thought process over and over and over and over.
But
again.
it's not
it's
so
because they'd rather be
easy,
dead.
though.
They would rather be dead than live in the lie anymore.
But
is
the
what
problem,
it's getting to.
if you bring up like suicidality, there is no evidence that having these surgeries and pretending to be the opposite sex reduces any of that whatsoever. So the
Because
people
there's always going to be,
post-op,
because there's going to be, there's going to be dysphoria forever, especially
Yeah.
from people like you guys
so it
going
doesn't
on
help.
the internet.
No, it's from
fucking
themselves because they know that
bashing
they're living
them
a lie.
every day.
Yeah.
No,
That's
no,
my whole thing.
I'm not bashing anybody.
I'm not
No,
saying you.
you,
Okay, maybe I
but-
shouldn't say. Maybe Chase. Because my whole thing. Because I didn't even get to speak on the.
But what he
video
said
that
was
got played.
totally right.
Okay, so since we're gonna
Sure,
go back to
go
that,
ahead.
the video that got played, right? If you don't want to sleep with a trans woman, that is your prerogative. I don't give a fuck what you want to do. That is your preference. That does not make you transphobic at all. But to get up on a podcast that has almost 4 million viewers and to say that any man who chooses to sleep with a trans woman is now taking part in homosexual, gay activities, I feel like that is wrong. I feel like that is hateful. And for somebody who claims to be so religious, so God, new, born again, virgin, Christian, I think that's very hateful of you. If you want to say, I personally wouldn't do that, that's not for me, then that's your thing. Answer the question. That's how you do it.
Is she okay? His opinion too matters.
It's a step further.
Is it hateful to say that a man can't really secretly be a woman?
I'm saying it's hurtful to say that sleeping, for any man to
But
sleep,
the first question you have to answer is not
that's
sleeping
not,
with
but
who.
I'm
The
talking
fir-
about what happened on the podcast.
No, I know, but I'm
referring to
I'm
that.
picking up on his point. The question is, what is a trans woman? And so what Chase would say and what I would say and what everybody throughout all of human history until 5 minutes ago would say is that a trans woman is just a man who is pretending to be a woman.
So I'm the only one who thinks this in the
I think-
world.
yeah,
Is
I-
what
You're
trying
in the
to say.
minority.
No,
Yeah.
she's
A lot of
not.
people
Yeah.
are saying it now, but you're
Simple.
historically speaking, yes. Statistically, 0% of people ever have thought that a man wearing
No,
a
there's
dress and a
cultures
That's
where
so
there's
incorrect.
cultures where they're
Then what about in
gender
Thailand?
revealing.
What about the femboys in Thailand that have existed for decades and decades and decades and decades?
There's
and they're
this third
living.
weird thing in certain cultures, like a modern
So
culture
you don't
like Thailand.
don't erase them.
But that's-
Then you're erasing them. That's
No,
like me
but
trying to
you
erase your
are
religion.
even-
If I could be like, oh, well, there's some people who believe in this one
No,
ancient
but-
thing called the Bible.
but
Yeah,
even
some
the-
of them were in Rome with him.
But even
that
when you're talking about
erasing whole
this
countries.
weird species of prostitute in Thailand,
Weird species of prostitute.
Yes,
you don't
that's what-
understand how that sounds. You know,
That
that's
sounds
what,
precise.
A weird species. Oh, so now we're not human. So back to
No,
the
a
abortion.
species in the
I'm
technical
just
term.
saying,
Hold
bro,
on.
if
Let,
you're
let
gonna
him
be-
let him explain. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so it's a type. So even there's this weird phenomenon in Thailand, for example, where there are these guys
That a
who
lot
get
of
weird
American
surgeries.
men go to.
Yeah, well, they probably shouldn't do that. But the reason that is different is because it's not, those people are not saying, I am really a woman. That's a weird, bizarre cultural carve-out that exists in Thailand. The difference here is, and what you are saying, is that a man who puts on a dress, puts on a wig, chops his body up, calls himself a woman, is actually a woman. And I just don't see how you could believe that that is true.
So she has a vagina, shit, probably fucking tighter than mine, double D racks,
Wait.
hair down to the fucking ass, looks like a woman, talks like a woman, does everything
Fake.
besides menstruate and can give
Everything
birth.
fake.
What is separating her
pretty
between
fake,
the women
fake.
who are infertile, who can't have birth, or a woman
No.
after menopause, or the women who never get their period?
So physically,
Are they not women either?
physically speaking, one, those are pretty big differences, and there are other differences too in terms of their bone density and the shape of their
Oh, yeah, 'cause
skeletons
you're
or-
gonna- yeah.
But also there are the chromosomal differences, which is that that woman, as you call it, still chromosomally is a man. And then beyond that, are you actually saying that women are just their
Well,
bodies?
that's-
That a woman is nothing more than
Are you saying a woman is just her chromosomes? She's nothing more
no,
than
no,
just her
I'm
chromosomes?
saying a woman is much more than all of that. That actually
Me too. That's why I'm saying
But-
that.
but not just
if
chromosomes.
she feels, since
A-
the
a
day
woman
she
is
was
also a
woke up
soul,
in this,
is what I'm saying.
yes, and that
Right.
person
Oh.
woke up the first day of their consciousness, and since they can remember, they remember their soul being a woman or a man or whatever.
well, that's
trapped.
usually not true. That's usually a
it's
sexual
not
fetish
true.
that
You don't
develops.
understand why
But-
it's-
Everyone
Can I
feels
say
that way.
Well, that's
No,
why
I'm
So
just
do you believe
correcting.
people aren't gay either? Then do you believe nobody's gay and they just do it for attention
well,
as
no,
well?
to say I am gay means that I have an attraction to a member of the same sex.
Okay, I'm just
So-
clarifying because a lot of people who usually do this trans argument are also
No,
arguing
nobody,
that gay people don't
denies,
exist either.
Nobody denies that certain people have different sexual attractions. In fact,
People deny it all the time. Actually, they say it's a choice that they're
Oh.
choosing to do that. They're
oh
not
well,
born that way.
they're certainly choosing to engage in certain behaviors.
But
So that's true.
choosing to engage because it's your biological
Medicines of
driven.
you.
No, you can
duty.
suppress your own desires. I have all sorts of desires that I repress.
Yes, you can
I
suppress
wanna-
your
I
own
wanna go
desires,
eat a
but
cookie
why
right now.
should
I wanna
somebody?
go get a delicious hard seltzer?
Yes, you can
can
suppress your own desires, but why should somebody have to suppress if it's two legal consenting adults? Why should somebody have to suppress that just because they're the
Because
same
we
gender?
have obligations to reality and to the truth.
What's the reality? The reality is we
The
should be a
reality
man and a
is that
woman.
man
That's
in
the
a-
reality.
The reality is that a man
Culture.
in a dress is not a man, or is not a woman.
Okay, but now
rather.
I was trying to get away from
this
something
is,
else.
This is
Hold
why
on.
the
Yeah.
whole
Go-
thing,
go ahead,
the whole
Sam.
thing goes back to where it's called
Period.
transgender and not transsex. Like it's you can't change your sex. To the down to the bottom of it, your chromosomes are going to be your chromosomes, but
Right.
they're
Into the mic,
changing
into the
their
mic.
gender. And gender is a man-made thing. It's something that we've created. We've created genders and gender roles in our society. We did not create sex. Yes, there's men and female. That goes back to science or God, whatever you would like to say.
if gender is man-made, then you're saying it's artificial. It's not real.
It's not real.
Oh, okay. So then who cares?
Exactly. So why do you care?
Oh, well, if it's not real, then the trans woman is just a man.
For
'Cause
you,
you said-
maybe.
'cause you
but
said
for
the gender's not
her,
real.
she's a woman,
But
and
I-
that's
I think
fine.
gender is
and I
real.
don't think it should
Yeah.
bother you. And I don't think it should get all these little incel men
Whoa.
angry about it.
Do you not think?
whoa.
I mean,
Okay, I think the
Well,
issue is that this whole
Abstinent by choice.
conversation it makes the male role, right? It kind of creates the more. I don't know. I just think the whole argument about gender it's so pushed out into our society. I don't think it's like this in the rest of the world right now.
Right.
There's so many other issues like the whole
rest of the world
60
knows what
like
men
the
and women are.
62 different genders.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not hateful towards anyone. I think as long as you're a good person, you can do whatever you want. I just don't like that it's pushed onto children because, like, a lot of people that are getting these surgeries,
Keep
they
quiet.
regret it, and then a lot of children that are
Keep-
put onto
keep quiet.
hormones. It
These
really
options
messes
are
with your.
small.
And also,
Well, there's a lot
obviously,
of
this
things
is
recently
this
about
is
it.
something
I'm
that
sure
is
it is,
brand
but-
new to our society, and there needs to be a lot more research done and more understanding about it, and like there needs to be laws done. So I understand. I don't think kids should be getting their parts change.
But I guess my question
They
is,
can't.
what?
They have to be 18. That's already in place.
No, that's not
You
true.
know
The
that-
transition process can start much
Thank
younger.
you.
than
Hormones,
currently.
yes, but they
And
in
obviously
in
puberty
America,
blockers and-
yeah, but in America you cannot
And a
get
social
surgery before the age of 18.
Yeah, but
Legally,
they can put you
you
onto
can, it's
hormones.
legally, you cannot get surgery.
Yeah,
can
because the laws
take-
are somewhat ambiguous.
They,
so
they
it-
can cut your
Yeah.
breath
Yeah,
off.
they can,
But
yeah.
like I used to teach a lot, and just from experience, and I don't know much, so I don't want to like say too
no,
much.
you're right
but-
about almost everything. I'm very impressed with how
like
right you
right
are
and
about
wrong.
many
Like
things.
I don't, don't tell me like
Oh, I'm telling you, I don't care. You can tell me no, but you're
okay,
right about these
so
basic
I used to
things
teach a
like
lot
gender
of
roles,
kids,
yeah.
right? And a lot of kids I noticed that have a lot of these gender issues, and then they wear their gender on their sleeve, and then they're like, I'm gay, or like
Yeah.
they're like they tend to have depression. They're very like, I feel like they need support and help, not just in the gender department where people are pushing them, oh, maybe you should be gay, or maybe you should do this. Like, there's much more.
I had a girl come up to me. I was giving a speech, and she said, "Hey, Michael, thanks for speaking out on the
They won't
transgender
stand
thing
in now."
because I had gender dysphoria." And she was young. I mean, this girl was was a teenager, and she said, "I had gender dysphoria, and my psychologists were starting to push me down this path of transition."
Like, that's wrong.
But-
I believe that's wrong.
Well, she said, luckily, I had good parents and a good priest, and they said, "You're not actually a boy." And guess what happened? She kept going to see psychologists. They figured out that actually she had undiagnosed autism. So they started treating her autism, and what do you know? Her gender dysphoria greatly abated. Now it's basically
It all starts. It goes back to good family. I think,
Exactly,
right?
and because I've been teaching in San Francisco since 2016, so I've seen a lot of how that affects kids. I teach kids all the way from
She's a teacher with this mindset. Unbelievable. Parents, be careful of this type of teachers. Work teachers.
TK through high school. So yes, there is definitely a correlation between the two, but it's typically because those kids, depression can be something that's brought onto you from your environment, or it could be something that's just a chemical imbalance in your brain. It doesn't have to be from a situation.
The
Hold on, let me
chemical
finish this
imbalance
thought
is
before I
kind of
forget.
debunked,
But usually, a lot of these times, it's why there's this correlation is because they find that the LGBTQ community or whatever is more accepting. So they think, oh, just because my friends that I choose to hang out with or gay and stuff means I must be. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a problem. Yes, they shouldn't be able to just now go to their therapist and say, I want to now change my hormones for sure. That's why I don't, in that situation it was a priest, but in a lot of cases it's usually another therapist intervention. I'm sure you can, in some places it's easy, but I don't have any trans friends personally, but I've watched a lot of experiences online. It is not easy to just go through these surgeries. You have to get documents from family, friends, therapists, psychiatrists, everything. It's not just you wake up one day and say, okay, I'm a boy. They're going to give you hormones. They're going
not
to
what
chop off
stress.
and do this.
Well,
That's not how it works.
I talked to a girl who that is actually exactly what happened. She walked into a Planned Parenthood. She said she had gender dysphoria and she wanted to receive testosterone. And she was able to receive that prescription very quickly.
they
Testosterone
want
and
the
hormones,
parents
it's
out
a
of
lot easier because, well, unless you're prepubescent, most of the things, not all of them are reversible because, like, especially testosterone,
Yeah, it's
it's
not.
not all reversible. But with those things, I could see how it is easier because it is a hormone, because just how those things are given out for other situations
Yeah, it's insane.
besides just
but
trans.
The problem, I guess, is this, which is if you really believe, as you say, that for some people are faking it, right? And some people think they're a cat, and they're not. Obviously, they're not a cat. But for some people, I don't know who these people are. There are really men who are secretly somehow women, and therefore they should transition to become women. So the question is, at what point were they the wrong sex? It's from the moment of birth, right? They were born that way. So if they were born that way, then why wouldn't we trans the kids?
Because that's the whole thing is, how can a child be so certain? They have to grow into those emotions and feelings.
I thought they knew you just said they knew from the
Because
earliest
yes,
moments.
they've known from the beginning that something was wrong. That's usually what it is. They know something's wrong, that they're not fitting. Like, for example, it's
But
not.
sometimes they grow out of it.
Oh.
Well,
I honestly, I really don't
problems
think people
relied
grow
on
out of it. I
something
think
else.
they're either
A lot of it is
conditioned to
psychological.
not do it, or they realize the other way might be easier,
or that there's
and
a
then there are
different
people who are
problem.
faking it. Yeah.
For a lot of people who suffer gender dysphoria, or used to be called gender identity disorder, the vast majority of teenagers who suffer that will grow out of it. Within a few years, that gender dysphoria will go away. For some smaller percentage, that dysphoria
Exactly.
persists. And
I think
they
you're
have to deal with
confusing
it
maybe
later.
gender dysphoria, or not just you, but these stats and people who report back are confusing sometimes gender dysphoria versus.
They know nothing. They know nothing. It is the environment that is pushing the narrative, not the kids. In Africa, as children, they want to be a boy. I'm a boy. I'm a girl. There's nothing like that. They want to become a gay. They will beat the hair out of you. African parents will beat the euphoria out of you.
Not feeling like, I don't know, a woman when you're growing up, or feeling like a
Right.
man.
So-
That's also what people, there's so many terminology and words and buzzwords out there these days that
Maybe
people
it's
try
the
to
same
label
thing.
themselves with anything when sometimes it's just not that deep.
Wait, so Kiko, I have a question. I kind of asked this last show,
It's in
and
confusion.
I don't think I really got a proper answer on it. So my question was, ignoring gender identity, ignoring gender, if we're just looking at sex, if two males, I'm not talking about two men, I'm talking about two males. If two males were to have sex, is that not gay? Is that not homosexual? I'm not saying it's wrong, but is that
Since
is that
sexuality
gay
is,
or homosexual?
I base sexuality off of gender, so I would need to know their gender, not their
But
chromosomes.
what? Okay,
So if you
To answer
dated a
that
guy,
question.
you were dating, or let's say you were married to this guy, he's been your husband for 10 years, and then one day he says, I'm a woman now, and you went and you engaged in that thing, married couples engage in.
Yeah.
Would you say you're a lesbian now? So the husband you've been married
Well,
to for
she
10
wouldn't be a
years?
lesbian, but maybe she's bisexual now, or maybe she's
No,
pan.
but her husband is now her
Yeah, but
wife,
doesn't-
right?
I get what you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
Your
That's
point you're
interesting.
trying to get at. And technically, yeah. I mean,
you don't
I think
believe
it's.
that,
I think
obvious.
it's. I think it's would be ridiculous,
Yes.
like for people to like go out in public and not transition themselves at all, and expect to be like, if you thought your pronouns were she hers, to expect people to refer to you as she her or ma'am, whatever, presenting yourself like this. Yeah, I think things like that are ridiculous.
Yeah.
There has to be some types where it says gender roles.
So then
that's
you-
the whole. That's the whole reason why they're wanting to say they're transgender, is because they want to follow the other gender role, right? So follow the gender.
So then
role
instead,
but
this is a great point, because this is where I differ from some of the conservatives here. A lot of the conservatives say gender expression's totally fake and sex is all that matters. And I'm kind of with you in the sense that
Sure.
I think gender expression obviously is real. There are feminine men, there are masculine women, all of that's true. But instead of concluding, therefore, that we have the right not only to have any gender expression we want, but actually to be the different sex and to call myself a woman or call myself a man, why didn't we take in the other direction and say, if you're a man, there's obviously diversity is the spice of life, but you have a general obligation to act like a man. And if you're a woman, you can be kind of diverse and you can be a little more tomboyish maybe or whatever, but you have a general obligation to act like a woman.
A conversation, the other game made it an argument. I really admire Michael's patience. Bunch of hypocrites. You'd have asked them, how would you feel if your child wakes up today tomorrow that he wants to become a, how would you feel as a mother? I can't even believe women are the one pushing this narrative. Americans, you guys are losing touch of humanity. Thank God Africa is not even like that. You dare not come out to practice lesbianism, gayism. You can't come out and practice LGBTQ. You cannot. Anything you want to do, just hush. Do it on the low, do it on the hush. If you are caught, it's 14 years in prison. 14 years in prison, there's no way about it. It is in our constitution. There's no debate on that. How did these kids know about transgender? It's not the environment, teachers, they're pushing the narrative. They're indoctrinating them. Let's live by by Bible or human standard. Please, what is in trouble? You guys keep complicating it with all this transgender issue. If you must do it, please leave kids out of it. That's just my own. See you on the next one. Watch, like, subscribe. Be at peace with yourself.